Hey, this is Tina, your host. So imagine saving up for an entire year, cutting back on vacations, skipping dinners out, telling your kids not this time. Also, your family could witness the greatest sporting event on the planet. You finally have enough. You go to buy your tickets, and then you see the price. $11,000 for one ticket to one game. Not the final, not even a semifinal, just a regular group stage match. Your stomach drops, your dream shatters. And somewhere in a glass office in Zurich, a FIFA executive is having a very nice lunch. This is not a rumor. This is not clickbait. This is the reality of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And today we are pulling back the curtain on everything they don't want you to know. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you is going to make your blood boil, and then I promise it's going to make a lot of sense. Before we go any further, if you care about football, if you care about fans being treated fairly, hit that subscribe button right now and give this video a like. We cover stories like this every single week, and trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is being hosted across 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It is the biggest World Cup in history, with 48 teams competing for the very first time. More games, more nations, more drama, more emotion. On paper, it sounds like a fan's paradise. But in reality, the ticketing situation has turned into one of the most controversial, most heartbreaking, and most tone-deaf moments in modern football history. And FIFA's response? Their defense of these prices. It has left millions of fans around the world absolutely furious. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers tell a story that no PR team can spin. When FIFA released ticket prices for the 2026 World Cup, the cheapest category tickets for group stage matches started at around $150. That sounds manageable, right? Until you realize that's the absolute floor and the ceiling goes all the way up to $11,000 per ticket for the final. Premium hospitality packages, corporate bundles, and VIP experiences push prices even further. Some all-inclusive packages were being listed at prices that would make your mortgage payment look like pocket change. And here's the thing that really gets people a massive portion of the best seats, the seats in the lower bowls, the seats closest to the pitch. Those were never made available to regular fans at all. They were gobbled up by corporate sponsors, FIFA partners, hospitality companies, and ticket resellers before an ordinary supporter ever had a chance to click buy. And the fans noticed. Social media exploded. Football communities across Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere were flooded with people sharing their shock, their disappointment, and their outright anger. Stories started pouring in. A father in Brazil who had been saving for 3 years to bring his son to see their national team play, only to find out he couldn't afford a single ticket to a group stage game. A group of friends from Mexico City who had planned a road trip to attend matches in Dallas, who had to cancel everything because even the cheapest available tickets on the resale market were being listed at 3 to 4 times their face value. A young woman from England who had followed the England national team for over a decade, who entered every ticket ballot she could and still walked away empty-handed. These are not edge cases. These are the stories of millions of fans worldwide, and they are heartbreaking. So what did FIFA say? What was the organization's response to this massive public outcry? Well, this is where things get truly incredible. FIFA Secretary General Fatma Samora and other officials came out and essentially said, and I want you to really absorb this, that the pricing was fair, that it reflected the market, that demand was simply very high, that the World Cup is a premium event, and premium events come with premium prices. They pointed to the fact that lower-tier tickets existed and that fans had options. They talked about their ticketing programs designed for fans from lower-income countries. And they presented all of this with the kind of calm, corporate confidence that only comes from people who are absolutely certain they will never have to stand in a ticket queue themselves. Now let's be real for a second. Some of what FIFA said is technically true. Supply and demand is real. The World Cup is genuinely the most watched sporting event on the planet. More people want to attend than there are seats available. That is a fact. And when demand vastly outstrips supply, prices go up. That is basic economics. But here's what FIFA conveniently left out of their defense. Here's the part of the story that exposes just how hollow their justification really is. FIFA made $4.3 billion in revenue from the 2022 Qatar World Cup, $4.3 billion from a single tournament, And according to their own financial reports, they are projected to make even more from 2026, with some estimates suggesting total revenues could approach $6 billion. $6 billion from one tournament held across 3 countries, most of the infrastructure of which already existed. No need to build an entire country's worth of stadiums from scratch like Qatar. No extraordinary construction costs being passed on. $6 billion in projected revenue. And they cannot find a way to make tickets accessible to the fans who built this sport into the global phenomenon it is today? Let's put that in perspective. The average annual salary in the United States is roughly $56,000. A family of 4 attending just 3 World Cup matches, using mid-tier tickets, not premium ones, could easily spend $10,000 to $15,000 on tickets alone, before you factor in travel, accommodation, food, or transportation within host cities. For a family in Brazil, Argentina, Nigeria, or Indonesia, countries that are absolutely football mad, countries that send hundreds of thousands of passionate supporters to World Cups, the economics are even more brutal. The exchange rates, the visa costs, the flights, the hotels, and then on top of all of that, ticket prices that rival luxury vacations. It's not just expensive. For a huge portion of the global football community, it is genuinely impossible. And this gets to the real heart of the betrayal, because the World Cup was never supposed to be this. Go back and read FIFA's own mission statement. Their stated purpose includes promoting the game of football, ensuring access for all, and using football as a tool for social development and unity. Those are their words. And yet, the practical reality of how they price the centerpiece of their entire organization directly contradicts every single one of those stated values. When a corporate sponsor gets thousands of tickets that sit half empty in the first half, while a lifelong fan from São Paulo or Lagos or Jakarta cannot get near the stadium, something has gone deeply fundamentally wrong. But wait, because there's another layer to this story that makes it even more infuriating. The ticket scalping and resale market. FIFA has strict rules against unauthorized resale of tickets. In theory, you are not supposed to be able to buy a World Cup ticket and flip it for profit. In practice, go look at any ticket resale platform right now. StubHub, Viagogo, SeatGeek. You will find World Cup tickets listed at 2, 3, 5, sometimes 10 times their face value. How does this happen if FIFA is so strict about it? Part of the answer is that the system is incredibly difficult to enforce at scale. Part of it is that corporate hospitality packages, which are perfectly legal, essentially function as very expensive ticket bundles that get redistributed. And part of it, and this is the uncomfortable truth, is that when legitimate supply is kept artificially low for regular fans and funneled instead toward corporate partners and sponsors, you create the exact conditions in which a black market thrives. FIFA's ticketing system doesn't just fail to prevent scalping. In many ways, it inadvertently enables it. Now, to be fair, because fairness matters, let's acknowledge what FIFA has actually done for accessibility. They do have what they call supporter tickets, aimed at fans from lower-income nations, priced at significantly reduced rates. For the 2026 World Cup, they announced some categories of tickets at lower price points, specifically for residents of certain countries. There are also programs for youth, for people with disabilities, and for host community residents. These programs exist. They are real. And for the people who successfully navigate the application process and secure those tickets, they are genuinely valuable. But here's the catch. These programs are limited in number, complex to access, and heavily oversubscribed. The demand far exceeds the supply, even for these discounted tiers. And they do nothing to address the broader structural problem, which is that the overwhelming majority of available tickets are priced in a way that excludes the overwhelming majority of football fans worldwide. There's also the issue of transparency, or rather the complete lack of it. FIFA does not publicly disclose how many tickets are allocated to corporate sponsors, partner organizations, national football associations, broadcasters, and hospitality packages versus how many go into the public ballot. This is not a small detail. If, as many analysts suspect, the majority of desirable tickets never reach the general public ballot at all, then the entire premise of a fair and democratic ticket distribution system is a fiction. Fans are entering ballots believing they have a genuine chance, not knowing that the pool they're competing in is a fraction of the total available inventory. That's not just unfair. That's a structural deception, and fans deserve to know the truth. Let's talk about the host cities for a moment because the American angle of this story is particularly fascinating. The 2026 World Cup will be played in cities including New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, Miami, San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Atlanta, Houston, and Vancouver and Toronto in Canada, plus Mexico City and Guadalajara. These are expensive cities. Hotel prices in New York or Los Angeles during a major sporting event are already astronomical under normal circumstances. Now add the World Cup. Reports from hospitality industry analysts suggest that hotel rates in host cities during World Cup match weeks could increase by 200 to 400%. So even if a fan somehow manages to secure a moderately priced ticket, the total cost of attending a single game, travel, hotel, food, transportation could easily exceed $2,000 to $3,000 per person per game. That is not a sporting event. That is a luxury product wearing a football jersey. And the American football culture context matters here too. The United States is a country where football soccer has been growing explosively. Youth participation is enormous. The MLS has expanded dramatically. The U.S. men's and women's national teams have passionate, growing fan bases. This was supposed to be the World Cup that finally truly brought football to the American mainstream. The World Cup on home soil was supposed to be the moment when American fans fell in love with the global game the way the rest of the world already has. Instead, the pricing structure risks turning it into an event that only wealthy Americans attend, a corporate showcase rather than a cultural watershed moment. The opportunity cost of getting this wrong is enormous, not just for FIFA's bottom line, but for the long-term growth of the sport in the largest sports market on the planet. So where do we go from here? What can actually be done? The honest answer is, it's complicated. FIFA operates as a private organization. They set their own rules, they negotiate their own contracts, they distribute their own tickets. There is no regulatory body with the authority to force them to price tickets differently. National governments in host countries have some leverage. They negotiated hosting agreements that include certain commitments about fan access and affordability. But those agreements are not always publicly available. Enforcement is murky at best. Fan advocacy groups like Supporters Direct and various national supporter trusts have been vocal, have published open letters, have organized online campaigns. And those campaigns matter. Public pressure has historically moved FIFA, slowly and grudgingly, but it has moved them. The post-Qatar reckoning over worker rights and the gradual, if incomplete, acknowledgement of those issues shows that sustained pressure can produce some results. What fans can do right now, and I mean right now today, is be loud, share this video, talk about this issue, leave a comment below telling me where you're from and whether you think you'll be able to afford to attend a 2026 World Cup match. Because FIFA tracks public sentiment, their corporate sponsors track public sentiment, broadcasters track public sentiment. When millions of voices say in unison that this is wrong, when the story breaks through from football media into mainstream news, when politicians start asking questions in Congress or Parliament, when sponsors start worrying about brand association, that is when change starts to happen. Not quickly, not easily, but it starts. The World Cup belongs to the fans, not to FIFA executives, not to corporate sponsors, not to hospitality companies. It belongs to the father in Buenos Aires, who taught his daughter to love the game. It belongs to the grandfather in Senegal, who stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch his country's first ever World Cup victory. It belongs to the teenager in Ohio who fell in love with football watching Messi and Ronaldo and decided this was the most beautiful game ever invented. It belongs to every person who has ever felt that specific, indescribable feeling of watching their national team score a goal in a tournament that the entire world is watching at the same time. That feeling, that shared human experience, is what the World Cup is supposed to be. It is what it has always been at its best. And it is what $11,000 tickets threaten to destroy. FIFA had a choice. They could have designed a ticketing system that prioritized genuine fan access while still generating enormous revenue. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Other major sporting events have found ways to create tiered, accessible pricing while still delivering premium experiences for those who want and can afford them. FIFA chose differently. They chose the path of maximum extraction. And the fans, the people who watch every game, buy every jersey, follow every story, argue passionately about every call, and pass their love for this sport down through generations. Those fans are paying the price. Before I wrap up, drop a comment right now. Tell me, are you planning to go to the 2026 World Cup? Have you checked ticket prices yet? And most importantly, do you think FIFA's defense of these prices holds up, or is this one of the most out-of-touch moments in modern sports history? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know what you think. And if this video made you feel something, if it made you angry, if it made you think, if it told you something you didn't know, please share it. Send it to every football fan you know. Because the more people understand what's actually happening here, the harder it becomes for FIFA to pretend everything is fine. That's the power we have as fans. Let's use it. The 2026 World Cup is less than a year away. The stadiums are ready. The teams are preparing. The whole world is watching. The only question left is, will the fans who love this sport most be allowed to be part of it? Or will they be watching from their living rooms, locked out by a price tag that was never meant for them? That answer isn't written yet, but it's being written right now by every conversation, every share, every comment, every voice that refuses to stay quiet. Don't stay quiet. The game needs you.